Hello, good morning. Happy Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You are tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we bring you way too much information, obviously. We're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so please be sure to hit the like and the follow button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff.
Manila,
it goes a real long way.
my computer is frozen. I can't move anything, so I'm gonna log off and log back on.
Oh, so we're gonna lose Ted for a minute. So I will carry on with some of the first news read, I guess, until Robbie's smiling or something.
Robbie's always happy. Robbie's always happy. Hey, listen, anytime I get to talk about the Confederate statues, or in this case, a memorial getting restored,
talk about that.
Hey, I'm all about it. Yeah, this is a good day. It's a win for states' rights.
It is a very interesting take, and obviously you have an interesting background and perspective on this as a child of the South and hundreds of years of the West family footprint in America.
Yep.
I think Ted's frozen in that spot.
Yeah, he's just stuck. What do we do? We might be Tedless.
We might be Tedless for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna kick this frozen image of Ted off the screen.
Just punt him.
I'm gonna
kick him hard
from the studio. Okay, hold on. But on today's show, so you will see some producer Robbie a little bit later in the show to talk about just that. Is that some Confederate? Are they all generals, Robbie, or are they some Confederate memorabilia, statues, and whatever are getting re-erected?
It's a Confederate general that's being re-erected because he got it was torn down in the summer of love riots there in your neighborhood.
Yes, in the BLM riots. So that'll be towards the end of the show. But first we'll get to some of the more breaking news topics, like how Trump is basically going along with the whole neocon line on Israel and Gaza.
Oh, there's no basically. I mean, he's just going. He's down on his knees, and people on my side of the world are saying no. The reason why Trump is doing this is because his goose is well and thoroughly buttered by the Israel lobby. And
I thought you were going to say cooked, but yeah, you're right. Okay, so don't spill the beans now. This is just the teaser to let people know what's on the docket today.
Hey, I'm just teasing. Listen, I'm just teasing. I'm just talking about them boiled peanuts. We ain't eating them yet.
So we'll talk about Gaza first before we get into the Confederacy and stuff like that. Then we'll tell you about a weird animal story coming out of Denmark at their big zoo over there, where you can ship off your furry loved ones that you no longer want, so the predators can eat them.
Or maybe your former LA Times publisher.
Yeah, but I thought
they framed it as like a furry loved one.
What about ex-spouses or disobedient teenagers?
That could work.
It's a slippery slope.
Oh, hold on. No, the pedophiles. Remember yesterday? Was it yesterday?
Oh, that's right.
Zionists?
No, it was Friday. It was Friday.
Zionists could go.
Zionists could go, but pedophiles.
It's a slippery slope. We'll talk about what's happening in Denmark.
There's nothing slippery about it.
Very, very. I think it's a strange story,
it's more
but
chunky.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of the circle of life. I don't know. We'll get into that. I have mixed feelings.
The circle of love.
Because these are all.
It is
like the Lion King. This is it's just very weird. It's just a weird story to me. I have mixed feelings because these are all animals held in captivity. Like they're save
it for the show.
Yeah, we'll save
it. Teasing, let's talk and keep going.
Okay, so then with Harvard caving to Donald Trump, that has become a slippery slope, Ted, with your university and a bunch of other universities now that are basically sucking up to Trump. We'll tell you what's happening in the world of academia, kissing the Trump ring. And then last but not least, Robbie's topic that he's so excited to talk about. Yeah. Because I guess, Robbie, is it fair to say that you're a son of the Confederacy?
Well, I'm a direct descendant. I mean, I have my grandfather's grandfather.
Grandchild. Yeah.
I have his cavalry saber. He never surrendered.
Oh,
I've got his sword, and I told my son Thomas, I said, if you grow up to be a good young man, phone call, I'll give it to you. If you don't, I'm gonna throw it in the river.
why can't
One
you
way or
give
the
it
other.
to your
You'll
daughter?
surrender to Clovis.
Why can't I do what?
You can
Why
surrender.
can't
to
you give it
Clovis.
to your daughter?
Because she don't carry on the family name, Manila.
She can carry on the family name if she
She still
marries
has
a
the
Spaniard.
bloodline. It doesn't matter
No, if
that
she marries
she
a
could
Spaniard,
theoretically.
she keeps her surname.
I kept my surname.
I don't care. It goes to my son or it goes to the river.
Oh my
not
God.
misogynistic
Okay,
or
well, that's
sexist
a whole
at
different
all.
conversation too. Okay, that's okay. All right, so that's that. We'll save Robbie until the very end. So goodbye, Robbie. All right, time to Jaws it. Let's get into some of the more breaking news.
All right, thanks for bearing with me. My 8-year-old computer is starting to show its age. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on in Gaza. Netanyahu now says he wants to completely 100% occupy Gaza. He says this is going to be a move to free the hostages, although that's not what the generals think. They think that the only thing that's been saving the hostages is that they haven't been going there. Anyway, the expansion of the war would see the IDF, which currently controls about 3/4 of Gaza, take over all of the rest and then use military operations to try to rescue the hostages. Let's face it, those hostages would almost certainly get killed as a result of that. But Netanyahu apparently didn't even bother to talk to the military chief of staff, Eyal Zamir, about it. He said, either do it or get the fuck out. The family of 24-year-old hostage Eviatar David released a second Hamas propaganda video on Saturday showing him in really bad shape, very skinny and frail, gaunt, one day after Hamas published
on screen
what it claimed was a sign of life from the captive. The decision to escalate the war, can you imagine? How can you escalate this war? To escalate this 21-month-old war comes despite calls within Israel and around the world to put an end to the whole thing. Senior Israeli officials who talked about the plan with Netanyahu do think that Hamas will never free the remaining 50 hostages. First of all, only 20 are alive, 30 are dead. So I don't really know if you can really call them hostages, deceased bodies, we will call them. Anyway, that view puts pressure on Netanyahu following the release of those propaganda videos from Hamas showing the hostages begging for food and water. If we don't act now, the hostages will die of hunger and Gaza will remain under Hamas control, the officials said. Gee, I wonder why they would die of hunger. It's not like there's a lack of food in Gaza. It's not like Israel's keeping food out of Gaza. Anyway, this would go completely against the IDF's previous assessment, which was completely against this plan. Meanwhile, 19 former Israeli military intelligence and police chiefs are telling the Israeli government that the Jewish state is on the precipice of defeat in Gaza, calling for a complete end to the war. Netanyahu, meanwhile, says that he thinks only total victory can free the captives. The retired Israeli leaders, including former Prime Minister and IDF chief Ehud Barak, said in a video that Israel has accumulated too many losses with no clear end in sight, with the officials accusing Bibi of keeping the war alive simply to preserve his right-wing coalition that controls his government. We're on the precipice of defeat, says former Mossad director Tamir Pardo, referencing the mass backlash against Israel over the humanitarian genocide in Gaza. What the world sees today is of our own creation, he said, of the images of starving kids. We're hiding behind a lie that we wrought, he added. That this lie was sold to the Israeli public, and the world has long since understood that it doesn't reflect the real picture. Former Shin Bet director Ami Ayalon echoed those concerns, saying that Israel has gotten more and more diplomatically isolated as the civilian deaths add up. This war started as a just war. It was a defensive war, he said, but once we achieved all of its military objectives, once we achieved a brilliant military victory against all our enemies, this war stopped being a just war. Meanwhile, states and cities that boycott Israeli companies will not get grants from FEMA. That, according to Trump. The new criteria would cut off aid to access to about $1.9 billion in search and rescue equipment, emergency manager salaries, and backup power systems used during blackouts. To get eligible for the federal funds, Trump says that states and cities now have to agree to do business with Israel. That, according to the Department of Homeland Security, the parent agency of FEMA. The policy underscores how Trump has linked Israel to unrelated federal funding, including billions of dollars in research grants for colleges and universities, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But the move to restrict FEMA grants could be mainly symbolic because only a few cities and no states have yet enacted laws or policies that actually ban state agencies from doing business with Israel, the apartheid state. Yet, the policy could prevent wildfire response funding from flowing to cities like Richmond, California, near San Francisco, where the city council voted last year to divest Israeli company stocks. And this is, of course, as the hurricane season is heating up. Tropical Storm Dexter is forming in the Western Atlantic, not forecast to be a threat anywhere on the East Coast as of yet. So basically, what I want to know, Manila, is like what's really going on with Trump's relationship with Israel? I mean, both parties, presidents have always been, in deep with Israel. Both parties in Congress have always been in knee deep, in all the way, over their heads. They do whatever Israel wants. AIPAC is so powerful in Washington. They're scared of being
AIPAC
called.
is hiring, by the way, Ted, for writers.
Hey, maybe we need a job. Maybe I'll chime in.
I'm not even kidding. I got a job notification saying that there was a company, a large company that was hiring in my area here in Washington, D.C.
Well, I guess I'd work for them unless they genocided me. No, I wouldn't. Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think but I guess the point here is, do you think Donald Trump actually gives a shit about Israel or Jews or anti-Semitism? Or
no.
Is this all some kind of perverted, weird way to own the left?
I don't know if it's that either. First of all, I think it's fair to say that, and I think I've established this many times over and over, that I think Trump is a transactional person and that he really has no moral compass one way or the other on any topic. With Israel, I think it's another transactional, whatever he stands to gain from it. I don't think he actually even as a person even cares about Bibi as I don't think any of it is actually personal, other than, from what I understand, when Ivanka chose to marry Jared Kushner, that he kind of had qualms about, or at least some misgivings about her having to convert to Judaism.
Well, she didn't. Well, just to be clear here, she didn't. It's not like the law. I mean, if she converted, she chose to do that. She didn't.
No, I know that, but I didn't say that she did. I'm saying that Trump had some misgivings about it.
You said having to.
No, she had to be a proper, Jewish wife, and I'm sure she had to, as the, the Kushner family would have it, if she wanted to marry their son.
Strict rules of ethics.
So I wouldn't.
Don't forget that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Don't forget that her father-in-law was a jailbird.
He's a respected businessman, Ted.
And criminal.
Papa Kushner, a respected real estate magnate in New Jersey.
There's no such thing as a respected real estate magnate.
So anyway, I remember hearing about, a lot of Trump having issues with that, because I don't even know what kind of Christian Trump is, but Christian
he's no kind of Christian.
I know.
He's the kind of Christian who doesn't read the Bible, doesn't pray,
doesn't know anything,
go to church, doesn't know anything about Christianity at all.
I don't know if he's like some sort of, I don't know if he's like on the Episcopalian side, the Presbyterian side, the Methodist. I don't know. I don't know.
He's some kind of Protestant, though.
Oh, okay. So I don't really know. So I know that all I do know is that he had some misgivings about it. And some of our regular rumblers, such as our friend Adrian there, brought up a good point a long time ago that Trump was actually trying to introduce Ivanka to Tom Brady back in the day. That didn't pan out, obviously. So, yeah, but you know, she wasn't having Tom, and she opted for Jared Kushner. And then
another sleaze bag.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Tom?
Yeah.
Why is he a sleaze bag?
Don't you remember that whole thing with the inflate gate, the football?
Oh, that I don't know.
What do you mean? What's not?
He's hot.
No,
he's hot.
Oh, well, I mean, so
he's hot.
So, well, I mean,
and seems
so
very
was
masculine.
Ted Bundy, right?
No, not in my book. But look, if I was Ivanka, I would have gone Tom Brady in a heartbeat. But I guess she doesn't like that toxic masculinity. I don't know. So anyway,
he's toxically masculine.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But just if it was a side by side, I'd go with Tom Brady.
Oh, really? I mean, if I rolled gay style, I'd totally go for Jared.
Really?
Well, not to mention, Jared did me a solid back in the day with the LA Times, so he'll get no.
Well, no, if we're just looking at a side by side,
none whatsoever.
No, if we're just looking on paper and pictures, Tom Brady all day. The physical stats, he's like 6'4", 230, pure muscle, nice strong square jaw.
If you like that kind of fascist look, that's fine.
if you like those built like a Greek god,
or like a Nazi propaganda poster, either way,
he's a handsome dude. So there's that. But she's into Jared, someone that's like her, so whatever. Okay, that's whatever. But I heard there was misgivings about that he didn't want her to convert, but she did, and so I don't feel like this is anything other than transactional, and I think if he thinks about it, if he thinks about it, what does he gain from backing Palestine?
But what's the transaction though? I mean, so like, okay,
Miriam Adelson donating $400 million to his campaign.
Well, okay, so do you think that? Fine. Do you think that the calculus changes now that nobody likes Israel anymore?
No, I don't think he cares. I think he just is paying back his debts. I think it's that simple.
But it's so over the top. I mean, look, Joe Biden was a lick spittle of Netanyahu. Joe
Biden openly admitted
baby's dick all night long.
For sure. Joe Biden openly admitted to being a Zionist.
Yes.
Joe Biden he called himself a Catholic Zionist.
Even Joe Biden didn't shake down Ivy League schools over fake anti-Semitism. Joe Biden didn't tell states, "Hey, if your people burn up in a wildfire and get swallowed by an earthquake hole, fuck them." If your city council issued a little statement against genocide, he didn't go that far.
Why is Trump openly cruel.
It this far?
Trump is openly cruel. Biden hides it.
No, it's something about cruel. I mean, could y'all imagine what would happen? Let's just say Trump goes rogue and actually put America first, this thing that he ran on, and say, screw it, we're cutting them off. Yesterday when he was asked during that little press conference, well, not a press conference, they asked about a reporter out walking outside the White House. Hey, is there genocide going on there in Gaza? And Trump said, well, it's a war. And just, could you imagine?
It's not a war at all.
No, it's not. No, 100%.
A war involves two competing or three or more, two or more competing military forces.
No, of course. But what do you think would happen if Trump went rogue and then that non-existent client list somehow got leaked? That's what this all is. Why would you set up a honeypot? What's the point? What's the purpose? It's to control people from going rogue. That's the whole point. You want to know why Trump is on his knees, deep throating the Israelis? It's because of the Epstein list. That's what it is. Let's just be honest here.
Well, I don't know. I need to see more evidence of that. Our buddy Adrian there in the Rumble chat says his own theory is that the Trump Israel love is that Trump sees Jews as rich and powerful, so best to get them on side. And wouldn't surprise me if Trump deep down was at least mildly anti-Semitic.
By the way, you can click on that in the StreamYard and put that up so we can all read it.
No, I can't do it on the StreamYard.
Yeah, it's on Rumble Studio.
Because Rumble, yeah.
Oh shit.
Rumble Studio.
Right,
I can't do that.
Point.
So I have to read. I read Adrian's chat, but I would agree with that. I think that's fair. Trump seems to always,
I think that's right. Yeah,
fall on the side of whoever he views as rich or powerful or smart or whatever. So it doesn't matter who they are, what they say. I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's probably right. He views Israel as a state as powerful in one way or another, and Jews more broadly across the globe, Jews as a powerful and very wealthy.
So ironically, it's kind of like positive anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
it's like saying all Asians are good at math and we're smart.
All Jews are rich and powerful, and
yes, all Asians are smart and good at school, good grades. All of us, we're all good at math.
Well, the thing is, this point though can be proven with the evidence I have available. Why does Trump hate Thomas Massey?
Because he hates anyone who criticizes him.
He hates anyone who criticizes him, and Thomas Massey goes after Trump about his reckless spending, which that's how he bankrupts casinos, and he goes after Trump, and he goes after Trump's full-throated support, and I use that term deliberately, of Israel. Thomas Massey is America first.
Well, yeah, he's
Donald
real
Trump
MAGA,
is not.
and
of course he is.
But that's the point. It boils down to Thomas Massey being antithetical to Trump, and Trump doesn't like that. He's used to being the CEO, the chairman of the board, and telling everybody this is how things are going to get done. And if people don't fall in line, he has a hard time dealing with that. And even in his second term, hasn't realized that ain't how government works, and that ain't how democracy works. That people are allowed to criticize you, and he's behaving as if this is still The Apprentice. Well, so I don't think it comes from any kind of moral compass why he backs.
No, it's all transactional. I mean, so Trump spent the last 4 years engaged in lawfare. Who was funding Trump's his legal defense team? Google it. Ask Grok. Who are the people who are the ones who are fitting the bill for Trump's legal bills? Trump isn't paying that out of pocket.
Probably Zionists, like Miriam.
Of course, no. Trump, so.
Well, that's what I said. That was my assertion. Is that he's paying back his paymasters. He owes them.
Of course, and that's why he's destroyed his own coalition, because you cannot be America first and then Israel instead at the exact same breath.
If you're in debt, you gotta pay it back.
Yeah. So there you go.
I don't know what the or else is if you don't pay it back, because what's Miriam Nielsen going to do to him if he doesn't?
If only you had this thing of a list of God knows how many people in government and in enterprise who were clients for a pedophile. If only you had that, and if only somebody had access to a reporter at, say, the Washington Post or something, and you could just leak, say, a quarter of the names. And the president's name is on it.
Grok says it's complicated.
Of course it is. Everything's complicated.
Robert Bigelow gave $1 million and then $20 million to MAGA Inc. for legal bills, but he's not explicitly known as being a Zionist. On the other hand, Miriam Adelson, who is very Zionist, but there's no evidence that she paid for his legal fees.
Well, I mean, typically you go through, an intermediary or something. I mean, that's how you're going to do this.
Yeah.
The point is,
money is fungible.
Trump is owned by the Israel lobby, and if you point that out, you're called an anti-Semite. That's what it is. And what is the leverage that they have to keep these people in line? It's all of the clients who went to Pedo Island. That's why that's what this is. I mean, you have to be a redneck from Montana to figure this out. I mean, someone with a degree should be able to see this.
All right, guys. Yeah. I think we're good there. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right.
I have DMZ with Scott after this, so.
Okay. Let's move on. We got to keep it.
So
if it ain't tight, it ain't right, Ted.
A zoo in Denmark.
That's why I say Tom Brady.
A Danish zoo is asking the public for donations of unwanted small pets or horses. Those are the smallest of all pets.
Horses?
Or horses. To feed its captive predators like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. In zoos, we have a responsibility to imitate the natural food chain of the animals in terms of both animal welfare and professional integrity. That according to the Aalborg Zoo.
Yeah,
The zoo
but a tiger is not in its natural habitat going to be feasting on 12-year-old Yorkies.
Well, fair.
No.
Fair. But maybe Great Danes. Anyway, the zoo in northern Denmark said that chickens, rabbits, guinea pigs, and I read in other sources, cats and dogs, were an important part of the diet of predators, which need whole prey, reminiscent of what they would hunt in the wild. If you have a healthy animal that has to leave here for various reasons.
Wait, what is leave
That's so
here?
Great. Leave here. Like,
What is leave? What
this
do they
reminds me
define
so
what
much of
leave
my
here?
Taiwanese father-in-law who is dead, so I can besmirch his
Oh my
name.
God,
And-
Ted!
and-
So you
and
can
one
flag
time-
him off.
And one time
God.
he told my ex-wife, she was like, what happened to the dog? And he said, oh, he had to go away. He had to leave here.
Where
had
did
to-
the dog go?
He went away. He died because he didn't feed him. The fucking thing starved to death. Anyway, because he was an idiot. Anyway, the point is,
no.
so if you okay, so if the animal has to leave here for various reasons, feel free to donate it to us. The animals are gently euthanized by trained staff. In other words, we won't have ICE do it, and are afterwards used as fodder. That way, nothing goes to waste, and we ensure natural behavior, nutrition, and well-being for our predators. The zoo said it accepts donated rabbits, guinea pigs, and chickens on weekdays between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Danish time.
Lunchtime.
No more than
Lunchtime.
4 at a time, Manila. No more than 4 at a time. It also accepts horses for feeding its animals, which it says on its website are euthanized not by ICE, as you might expect, but by a zookeeper and a veterinarian. Now, the thing is, I was thinking if you're really going to go natural style, the truth is they shouldn't be euthanized, right? I mean,
Right. They should just
they should be put in
be
there
left
alive
to run.
and allow the predator to hunt it. Like, so imagine if Clovis is getting a little long in the tooth and he's like dragging a little bit. His tail's not as sprucey as Pry's before. You're just like, roar!
But see, okay, if they're trying to imitate the natural habitat, okay, no, you can't because it's in an enclosure. The animal cannot escape. Like it literally,
Well, this is
the
how
small
Dick
creature.
Dick Cheney was hunting for quail in an enclosure also. Remember? They would release the quail inside a fenced area, and that way it's easier to kill. Even then, the imbecile shot his friend in the face. But like that's where it happened. It happened in a.
I didn't know.
They weren't real hunting. They were fake
Oh,
hunting.
I thought they were. I always thought they were real hunting.
Nah,
They were in an enclosure?
They were gay hunting. Are you kidding?
Oh my God!
Yeah,
They
they're
were
like-
simulated
they're a
hunting, but with
they're
real
a couple
guns.
of like total pussies, right? I mean,
Oh my God!
yeah. So anyway, there was a place like that in the Hamptons where rich assholes would hunt, and they'd be like the deer would be released into an enclosure, and then I'm like, you could just walk over to it and stab it to death if you wanted. I mean
okay.
deer in the Hamptons are like seriously like they come 20 feet away from your car. You just shoot them from the leisure from your passenger
Oh
seat.
my God!
Be on your way.
Okay, So I get what they're trying to say is like, well,
Don't
first
wait-
of all,
don't
how does
just-
how does
I
the
think they're like
owner-
I think this is one of what this is, Manila. This is like, hey, you gonna eat that? Like, don't waste it. If you're not gonna eat it, let me have it. So that's what it is. It's like
Okay,
the
wait.
Danish zoo is like every single day, all these beautiful, tasty, delicious morsels are being sent to the vet and like incinerated and crematoriated. So instead of allowing all those more delicious, tasty treats to be wasted, instead, like let's turn Fido over to Leo here, and let Leo have a tasty, instead of having to eat like lion kibble, he can like get to get to work.
I get what they're trying to say, that this is like, in a way, the circle of life. You know, cue the Lion King song. But like Ted, you love Clovis. We know that.
Oh yeah, I do. I adore him.
And you, okay, let's say he's now 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's just feeble and laying there.
It's time for him to go away. To leave
for him
here.
To go away.
To leave
would
here.
Would you allow this zoo? Could you stand to see Mufasa over there eating your Clovis?
Well, I wouldn't want to watch it. That's for sure. I mean, look.
But would you be able to rest your head at night knowing that instead of putting Clovis down at the vet and then cremating him and keeping him in your little urn, would you be okay with knowing that you gave his limp, lifeless 19-year-old senior cat body to the greater cat up the food chain right there, to Mufasa?
You're not going to like this answer. I think I would be. Because here's the thing. My mother raised me to be a man of science and to be a rational being. And
was she a science teacher?
No, she was French, and French people believe in science. And so the point is that she and so I know rationally that like Clovis is no more once he's shed his mortal coil. It's just a body, right? I mean, at that point,
I know,
the question is what's going to happen to that body? Well, I mean, in New York City, people like literally bag them up and put them in the trash, and they end up in the landfill in fresh kills. Or maybe if I'm really awesome, I drive up to Bear Mountain State Park upstate, and I find a spot in the woods and I bury him, and hopefully the animals don't eat him there. Or I have him, the vet's like, I will burn him up and you can have the ashes if you want him. Either way, I mean, I'm sorry, like crematorium is an act of violence too, right? I mean, you're burning at high temperatures to the point where the body disintegrates into ash. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch that either. So I guess my point is none of it's great. I wouldn't want to see. I did bury my last cat in my backyard. And, I was fortunate enough to have a backyard to do that. And it even was like where the wild fern grows, where like where the
red fern grows.
No, a red fern grows. A beautiful orchid grew on top of my cat's grave.
Okay.
And it spontaneously appeared. And I thought warm, fuzzy thoughts. And I like knowing that he's still there, buried with his cat treats like a Roman pharaoh. But that's like, most people can't do that, right? If you live in
symbolism,
like
because you love,
you need to, you have to get rid of your dead cat's body, right? What do? I mean, it is stupid to let it go to waste, really.
No, I get scientifically why that's a thing.
Yeah,
but
like science is important. I'm a man of science. I mean, we have to try to be less emotional. I mean, I didn't want to put my mom in a nursing home either. But the point is, emotionally, that emotionally, it was like, I'll take care of. She's my mom.
But
I'll take care of her at home. Thing. But in reality, scientifically, I couldn't do it.
When we shed our human mortal coils, right, our lifeless body, let's say we die of natural causes.
Well,
would you throw Grandma to Mufasa? Well, let Mufasa and Nala and Simba over there just chow down on Grandma?
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I don't see the problem here. I mean, it's it's important to be rational. And I think a lot of people, what makes this a great story is because I can argue it your way too. Look, I have feelings. I cried every day, multiple times for months after my last cat died. It's like, I'm definitely not over my mom's death. And that was 5 years ago. I mean, so I have feelings. I don't like the fact that my mom got buried. She had the crematoria thing. I wish she'd gone with the traditional gravesite, but then she'd be rotting down there, something she didn't want. And she thought, she read I think it's Jessica Mitford, The American Way of Death. She read that book. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? It was an early 1960s expose book about like the business of the mortuary business. And like basically how it's a giant scam, how they prey on grieving families to, you know,
sure.
Doesn't your beloved one, your loved one, deserve the very
Don't you
best?
need this gold leafed casket for?
It's only $100,000, a bargain when you consider that it's for the hereafter. No, I
agree. It's exploitative.
So it's disgusting. And my mom read that, and she was like, "Fuck them! I'm not going to be part of that." And,
well, I'm not going to be part of that either. I plan on either being cremated and, like I said, go out Gonzo style, shot out of a fucking cannon or something.
That cost $1 million, and it's bad for the environment too.
Yeah, you go out with a bang. Or I might do the Dr. Reese approved, eco burial. No, eco burial.
Tree?
Where I get put into a pod and then like a tree grows from me and then planted like in the backyard.
Be careful,
somewhere.
You should watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The whole pod thing's dangerous.
Well, this is basically a human compost
but you
pod.
Won't be the same.
But yeah, whatever. I'm shedding the mortal coils.
You'll come back
that's
woke.
That's how you might deal with human death, the pet death thing. And I don't know, like Robbie's away from his computer, I can see, but he recently, not that long ago, had his beloved pet Yorkie die. Not that long ago. And I think Robbie had
Yorkie or Porky Chop.
No. And I think Max was like 17. Well, Robbie's back. Robbie, so you're back.
I'm back.
Max was how old? I mean, you recently lost him, so you should weigh in on this.
Yeah. So no, he's just a little Yorkie that we had, and he was he died about a month before his 18th birthday. So he hung on there for a long time.
I thought you said he was 7, Manila.
No. 7? No,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
No, he was. Really Max was life. Old. Max was older than he was Rob, older Mr. and Mrs. West's first baby before the babies.
Yep. He was the oldest child.
Okay.
That's right. So would you? So as he was in his dying days, would you have given him to this
magnificent creature, this beautiful,
to this zoo,
hungry,
and let
lion.
Let Mufasa feast on Max's little body?
No, if I had to do it over, because no, he was sick and I took him to the vet. I mean, y'all know what happened. If I had it to do over, and if I, hindsight being 2020, if I had known that what the end result was going to be, that there's just no fixing him, I would have took him out. I would have took him out into the woods and shot him.
Christine Ohm style.
Well, it would just been more merciful that way, I think. And bullets are cheaper than
a
vet bill.
With his body,
I would have buried him.
Would you allow this lion to eat him?
No,
his body.
I would have buried him.
Well, what about it? What about it? Maybe if you're a lionophobe, how about a tiger?
I mean,
would you allow an apex predator to eat
hyena.
his little body?
A hyena is a natural scavenger.
Yeah. Well, no. Here's how I look at it: is that earthworms need to eat too.
True.
And so I would just bury them and just because what we did.
Why do you hate large predators so much, Robbie? Why do you hate them?
Well, because I hate everybody.
What about grizzly bears? You live near grizzly bears.
Grizzly bears are awesome. Well, I'm sure what would happen is that a bear would have dug Max up and would have.
You'd have to dig at least 4 or 5 feet down.
Yeah,
which is really. Look, it's hard where I live in Montana. I can't even imagine how hard that soil is.
Well, you're going to be here in a couple.
So long. Yeah.
Well, you're going to be here in a couple of days. You're going to see, and it's also just really rocky.
That's right. Reminder: on Thursday, Ted is traveling, so we're getting a guest fill-in host. Scotty Nell Hughes is going to join me as the fill-in.
And if you happen to be in Kalispell, Montana, I'm doing a book signing 1 p.m. Friday and Saturday at the Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
Kalispell, Montana.
And I'm urging Ted to do an exclusive story, and I'm saying this publicly, I want you to do an exclusive story on the housing crisis.
Oh, I think that's a good idea. For real.
I really think that would be it's shocking.
It's a real it's a real thing. Yeah, for sure. All
yeah,
right, anyway, so
and you're published in the journal, so
Let's get back to cats and dogs.
But so what is it? What is it? What is the?
Why wouldn't you do this?
What is Westerner hangups? Primary, and I'm going to say mostly Americans. Look, the pet industry in America. I have a girlfriend that works in that industry, and it is like a multi-billion-dollar industry in the U.S. Like, it is your fur baby. And they're called fur babies, right? Our pets
by gay people,
or Californians. What is it specifically about? What is it specifically about Americans and how we view our pets? That even in death, that their furry little bodies should not go to good use to another animal such as this lion.
Well, because we have an emotional attachment with our pets, right? It's just, for example, if you're, whenever I peace out, and I've said this to the kids, and I mean it sincerely, just tie me to a brick and drop me in the Flathead Lake and just let me be fish food. They won't do it because one, it's against the law, which is a stupid law. And
that's a good reason.
And second, because people like having memorials. They like having a place to go to and be able to say and goodbye and that kind of thing, or just
it's for the living.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I have funerals. Funerals don't do anything for the corpse. Funerals are for the people who are left behind. Obviously. It's the same way with pets. You have an emotional attachment to this animal. This animal is a part of your life, a part of your family for years. And a lot of people, just myself included, I don't like the idea of feeding Max to a bear or something. That being said,
sorry to laugh.
That being said, I understand that that's what's going to happen, especially if I go out and I bury him out in the woods, which if I was able to, I would have done that. Hindsight being hindsight being 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't. For the same, I don't know, not my pet, but I don't know. I guess if you're somebody that's trying to get rid of your creature for whatever reason.
That's not what they're saying. They're saying, by the way, I know, I have,
but that's what's going to happen.
Move on. I have to tell this story. So I have this friend.
What's going to happen.
We'll call her Stephanie because her name is Stephanie. She's a cartoonist, and she's a survivalist. And so basically, I don't know if she still is, but she was a survivalist. And basically, she read that guinea pigs are an amazing form of nutrition for post-apocalyptic conditions because they reproduce really, really quickly. They're easy to kill, and they generate a lot of protein. Now, I was like, so she bought a pair of guinea pigs, a boy and a girl. I was like, so you're gonna kill them and eat them? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't see it, right? I just don't see it. I don't see you doing that, based on her personality. Anyway, she goes ahead, she buys them, they start to reproduce. It's like Tribbles in Star Trek. The next thing you know, she's got 52 of them, okay? And she doesn't know what to do. And like she tries to kill one, she like puts one down, she has a hammer, she's like, she tries to work up the courage. And I was dying of laughter because, she's a Marxist. And I was like, you want to swim in the blood of the capitalists, but you can't kill a guinea pig? And anyway, the point is, no, she couldn't. This would have been a great service for her because they take up to 4 at a time. And so, she could have dropped them off in lots, and it would have gotten taken care of. So this is a valuable service for people who've read too many survivalist magazines, too many guinea pigs. 52. She's really lucky. She finally found a place that took them. And,
I would be curious.
A no-kill shelter, ironically.
A few months from now, maybe at the end of the year, I would love to follow up on this zoo in Denmark and see how well. Yeah, their experiment has gone.
No,
So
that would be-
with that, we should pause and have a word from our sponsor that Robbie is putting up.
Okay. Great. All right, I got it.
It'd be funny if it was a pet food company.
When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. Nobody thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They're attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They're attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They're attacked by brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble's offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium. Use promo code STUDIO. Then you can watch all the premium content generated here on the TMI Show. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble. All right.
I like the Rumble.
All right. I know you do. All right. By the start, speaking of wusses, by the start of last week, Harvard had signaled it was said that it was pretty much ready to pay Trump $500 million to settle its battle with the administration and and restore its research funding. But then, 2 days after the New York Times reported that Harvard was about to settle, the White House announced a far cheaper deal with Brown. Brown's only going to have to pay $50 million over a decade. The terms stunned Harvard. They're so pissed off that another Ivy got away with paying so little, according to those familiar with the deliberations. Harvard also got pissed off because after a month of work to address anti-Semitism on campus, and with a seeming advantage in its court fight against the government, it was facing a demand from Trump to pay 10 times more than Brown. University officials were already sensitive to the possibility that a deal with the government would be seen as surrendering. Let me use small words and speak slowly. If you pay Trump a penny, you're surrendering. You're paying too much. You didn't do anything wrong at all. So you shouldn't be paying them anything.
Is this kind of like when a bully shakes you down for lunch money and you give it up? Exactly. Then he keeps coming back?
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Instead of beat the shit out of the fucker. Anyway, the terms of the Brown agreement added new complexity to Harvard's internal debates. This part made my blood boil. For many people close to the discussions, spending $500 million was no concern. Remember that. If you have your kid at Harvard,
okay.
and when that tuition bill comes, maybe you shouldn't pay, because after all, they don't care about $500 million at all. No worries. But they were worried about what the $500 million payout shakedown would look like outside the campus. It'll look like your pussies is what it's going to look like. For those close to the discussions, Trump's demand is too large. There should be no demand. You shouldn't pay at all. I mean, you're Harvard. It's Harvard. You graduate people from Harvard Law. They could work for you for free because he graduated from your school. If Columbia was in deep shit and they said, we need a really awesome cartoon, Ted, I'd be like, okay. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like they have the ultimate alumni network. This is so beyond ridiculous. Anyway, they also, those people are saying that acquiescing would be seen as the university scrambling to buy its way out of Trump's anger. Duh! They contend that Harvard has taken far more aggressive steps than Columbia, which paid $200 million last month to combat anti-Semitism. The Brown deal has so miffed Harvard officials because the terms look a lot like those they expected for themselves. The government agreed, for example, that it couldn't use the deal to dictate Brown's curriculum or the content of academic speech. Brown avoided a monitor, and the university won the right to direct its $50 million towards workforce programs, which it could choose. But Harvard doesn't get along as well with Trump, and because Harvard has sued. Trump. Therefore, the White House is seeking a bigger payout not because the school's alleged fictional troubles warrant $500 million, but just because Trump can get it and ask for it. By the way, Manila, you know where
how did they arrive?
You know
at
where that money's going, right? It's going to Trump's presidential library.
You think so? How did Trump arrive at $500 million? Like that? Why that number?
It's whatever the market will bear. I think he looked at it and he was like, well, they have $93 billion in their endowment. Now,
do they really? Is that a real number?
That's a real number. So it's not really like free
that is bigger than the GDP of like more than 100 nations in the UN.
That's for sure. So $93 billion. So they probably figure like, it's like we're dunning them. It's like 0.5 percentage point. Who cares? If you had $100,000 in the bank and someone just wanted like, $500, you're like, whatever.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
that's, if I get why Harvard is annoyed that Brown got off with like a fraction of
just say no, shakedown. Fucking idiots. Just say no. Just tell them to go fuck themselves.
But at
besides
the same
which,
time,
not to mention, the American legal system is a delay machine. I mean, look at the calendar, idiots. You guys are Ivy Leaguers? You guys are smart? You're educated? You have a doctorate?
No.
Look at the fucking calendar. All you have to do is run out the clock for 3 years. Trump will be gone, and you have nothing to worry about. Just relax.
Now it's precedent setting, and there will be more shakedowns for sure. But like, well, Ted, I got to say though, some of the people, at least some that I know, that have the fanciest degrees from the fanciest of universities in the U.S. are some of the most idiotic morons that I know.
No, I can confirm that. Yeah.
So I just want to add, by the way, totally unrelated, but the breaking news from the New York Post soon. So I wonder if they'll run this in the upcoming California Post.
Perhaps.
Bill and Hillary Clinton, former AGs,
are going to renew their vows.
Pretty much. Bill and Hillary Clinton, former AGs and FBI directors subpoenaed for Jeffrey Epstein testimony. So does that mean they're going to be deposed like in a private setting or testimony before like
sounds like a deposition, but who knows? We need to hear more details. Is this by Congress or what's this for?
I don't know. The New York Post, it's a headline. It's not really saying it's, I don't know, from the oversight chairman, James Comer. So it sounds like it'll be before Congress.
So what will happen is that now the attorneys for the Clintons will negotiate with Comer's committee about the terms of the testimony. So obviously the Clintons will want that testimony to be behind closed doors. It's entirely possible also that to show contempt for the proceedings, they'll go in there and take the fifth on everything, the way that Biden's crew did about his mental acuity before the very same committee. So, but they're going to they're definitely not going to want to go in there on TV answering questions in an honest and forthright way. Unless they have nothing to hide.
The Post, I'm reading from my phone, the Post highlights that Jeffrey Epstein had an oil painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress, lounging on a chair in the Oval Office, hanging up in his Manhattan townhouse, according to law enforcement sources. Well, I mean, we've seen images of that.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeffrey Epstein also had a first edition of Lolita.
Well, that's I really hope that they have to testify before cameras, and even if they stonewall and say I take the fifth, I take whatever, I would just like for the world to see that. I think we deserve to see it.
I mean, knowing the Clintons, they'll probably try, since they charge so much for their speeches, they'll probably charge like $800,000 to appear before Comer
to just show up.
A statue. We're running short on time.
This is Robbie's thing.
Scott
Okay.
On DMZ America in 33 minutes. A statue of a Confederate general that was torn down in 2020 during the BLM protests will go back to D.C. according to the National Park Service under Trump. Back in June 2020, the Albert Pike statue near DC Police HQ was toppled and vandalized by protesters. NBC4 was blah, 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 blah. Protesters poured lighter fluid on the statue and set it on fire. The Park Service says they will repair the damage and reinstall it. They basically called this, they're adhering to an executive order signed by Trump called Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. In the order, Trump ordered Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to determine whether any public statues and other monuments have been removed or changed to perpetuate a false reconstruction of American history, inappropriately minimize the value of certain historical events or figures, or include any other improper partisan ideology, all very, very vague, weaselly words, and to take action to reinstate these statues as appropriate. Pike's statue was dedicated in 1901, so this is not really a Confederate statue. It's a statue of a person who was a diplomat in the Confederacy. It's sat in storage since it was removed in 2020, and it's currently being restored. They're hoping to have it ready by this October. And of course, it was vandalized about a month after George Floyd got killed in Minneapolis. Journalist Jeff Bennett reported in June 2020 that Trump had moved to reinstall Pike's statue. And so basically, my understanding of, I think he was a general, was that he was a Confederate diplomat who liaised with tribes to try to get them to support the Confederacy, because there's we always think of the war between the North and the South as taking place in the eastern part of the United States, but that's not true. A lot of it took place out west in the Wild West, and trying to get the alliances with various Native American tribes was something that both the North and the South tried to do. And so
Stan Waddy was the last Confederate general to surrender. He was a Cherokee.
So he's criticized. Pike is criticized for being very pro-slavery. Of course, not shocking for a Confederate.
Well, I don't have a ton to say on this other than I was here in Washington, D.C., steps away from where these BLM riots were taking place, and it was a scary time, and I don't agree personally with taking down any sorts of history, no matter what side of history it falls on. If it's there, I think it's something that's educational.
Well, what if it's not a form of history? I mean, that's my concern here. If this statue, let's just say you had a statue that went up in the South, of say Jefferson Davis, and let's say it's sitting in Nashville.
We have Jefferson Davis Highway right here. US 1 is Jefferson Davis Highway.
That's really strange. Okay, so let's just say you had a Jefferson Davis
that they're trying to rename
Jefferson Davis statue, or let's in somewhere in a southern state, and it dates back to 1864. I'd be like, leave it. It's historical. But there was a spate of these statues that went up around the early 1900s that were put up by basically racist groups as a fuck you to blacks in the North, and a lot of them. And it was including this one in DC, although DC is sort of a southern city. But it was, and so to me, that's a little bit, that changes things a little bit, right? I'm not sure that it should have been torn down, but I'm not sure it should have been put up in the first place. Anyway.
Yeah, and?
It would be
Go ahead, Robbie. I know you got thoughts.
It would be like in France,
I don't have a lot of
like in Germany. Let's just say that there was a Hitler statue from 1944. I'd be like, leave it. But let's say you have a Hitler statue that went up in 1990. It'd be like, if someone wants to tear it down, I could see why they'd want to.
Here's the difference, though, right? I mean, France is an occupied country. I submit to you that the American South is an occupied country today. To call it rebellion.
I actually agree with you. Because
I know.
The Confederacy had every legal constitutional right to secede.
Absolutely.
It didn't violate any law, including the federal Constitution when it did so. And it was just by force of arms that Lincoln was like, no, you can't leave. But it wasn't. There was no legal basis for it.
Of course not. That's why Lincoln didn't get a declaration of war, and he threatened to have the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court arrested because he ruled against him. So that's why I know whenever Trump ignores the Supreme Court, I have zero problem with it, because he says Abraham Lincoln is his favorite president. Well, what did Abraham Lincoln do? He became a dictator. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Well, he did. He suspended habeas corpus.
Yeah.
The 1864 election's a travesty.
No, of course it was. And as far as one of the reasons why these statues took so long to get built, people forget the South was completely devastated. Now, it's arguable that the very first total war that the United States ever fought was against its own people, against the South. I mean, they destroyed
and the death
everything.
count is crazy, right? Like the death count of Americans on both sides, or either side even, much less the total, killed in the Civil War, is like, it's bigger than all other American wars combined. And that's saying something, because we're a very war-y people.
Oh, very much so. And one of the reasons why those statues took so long to get built, one, a lot of them started going up 20 to 30 years after. The veterans are getting older. They're putting up a memorial for them. But more to the point, it took that much time just to get enough money to gather to even be able to start doing this kind of thing.
That's true, right? There's like
that's a big part.
There's like the Daughters of the Confederacy and those groups.
Yeah,
that,
I've heard
raised
of them.
money for that.
Yeah,
but you can see also why black people would be like, oh no, fuck that shit.
No, I completely agree. But one of the things I would like to point out, though, is to say that the Union was fought the war to free the black man is absolutely insane. Because 100%, because it's arguable that there's more racism in the North than there was in the South. We saw that in the New York race riots.
Well, anyway, and history's pretty clear. Abe Lincoln wasn't losing much sleep over.
No, I mean Abraham Lincoln was no, he was a rabid racist. But you're not allowed to say that. So, when it comes to the statues, I'm against burning books, and I'm against desecrating war memorials for the same thing. Agree or disagree. History needs to be studied. It needs to be learned from. Andersonville was an absolute travesty. There is a correlation between what happened at Andersonville with the starvation that happened there versus what's going on right now with Gaza. The Confederates were not starving the Union prisoners out of malice. There was simply no food.
Right, that's true.
So fast forward up to what's going on now in Gaza. Hamas is not starving the hostages out of malice. They're starving because there's no food.
Yeah, and we know that because a lot of hostages have been released previously before the big aid.
And they looked totally fine.
Yeah, and they actually reported that they were treated well.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would like to point out also, and we've kind of went round and round with this, would you, the whole reason why the war between the states happened, and it's not a civil war. A civil war is whenever one group tries to overthrow the government of the nation. That's not what happened. It was a revolution that failed, as most revolutions do. So to call it a civil war is a misnomer.
It was more of an independence struggle that failed.
I think that a revolution, because they wrapped themselves in the flag of the American Revolution. But
a revolution would have been an attempt to overthrow the existing class system and all that. They didn't do that. They split off. They broke off, right?
Yeah,
and did their own thing.
Well, it's revolution in the same vein of the American Revolution.
I think it's an independent. Yeah, well, that's an independence struggle. I've always said the American Revolution's not a real revolution.
Yeah, so I guess just kind of comes down to how it is to try to parse the word.
A revolution is the replacement of one class of ruling elites with another.
Right, and that's not what the war between the states was. It was a failed independence movement. And I've said on this show multiple times, American federalism died when Lee surrendered his sword. I mean, that is when the American experiment. That's when it ended. That's the entire idea of having sovereign, independent states linked together in a federal union. That died at Appomattox.
So circling back to this whole issue of the statues and even other statues that still stand mostly in the South, for obvious reasons, I think, because there's a lot of familial ties for a lot of people in the South, like where you're from in the South. Is this obviously it's going to be by the American, mostly Democrat leaning media? They're going to frame this as, yeah, of course Trump is putting these up because he's a white racist Nazi second coming of Hitler.
Yeah.
Why is it not? I'm not saying it is. I don't. But why would you say it's not?
I mean, it is a dog whistle.
I don't think so.
No, there you go, right there.
What, you don't think Trump's thing is? You don't think this thing with the statues is a dog whistle?
No, it's a distraction.
It's a fuck you to blacks. It's a fuck you to liberals.
I don't think so.
It's really not. It's him trying to change it's him trying to change the media story. Trump is trying to get people to talk about anything other than Epstein right now. And this is nice, juicy red meat. This
executive order was issued in March before the Epstein shit blew up.
Of course, but it's in the media now. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's being pushed now. As far to answer Manila's question, a lot of people need to realize is that the Confederate Army had thousands and thousands and thousands of blacks, free and slave, who worked with the army. Building the fortifications, who were the Wainwrights.
That's true.
And the
French and the German army, the SS had a French brigade recruited from occupied France also.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons, the diary that I wish I had it, my older brother has it, had a story about, just what would happen. Whenever the Union Army would go through, they would burn everything. It didn't matter if you were white, it didn't matter if you were black, they burned everything. Well, when this kind of stuff happens, whenever you're being invaded and you're being pillaged by an invading army, it doesn't really matter, what the social norm is. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. These people are burning everything down. It's probably a good idea to fight them. So, I mean, the enemy of my enemy at that point becomes my friend. So there's a lot of that goes into it. And then one of the things I also like to point out, people like to call Abraham Lincoln the great emancipator. Lincoln did not free a single slave. When he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, the South was an independent sovereign nation where Lincoln had no jurisdiction. The Emancipation Proclamation would have had teeth in the United States, which he was a president of, specifically in Maryland and Delaware and in Missouri and in Kentucky, which were the 4 slave states that he had authority over. So, but people don't know this. The biggest problem with Americans do not know their history.
Yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation is toothless theater.
Well, it was an effort to try and get a slave revolt to happen. That's what it was. I mean,
that's correct.
That is correct. No, Lincoln wanted another Nat Turner, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, so I mean, there's nothing racist, about it. Like there's nothing racist whatsoever about being proud of who you are, where what you are, and where you came from. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like the Germans. They need to take a lesson from the American South and sack up and say, we've had a good run for 1,000 years. 12 years went kind of haywire, but you know what? We're not defined by those 12 years. And that's what needs to happen. The European people as a whole need to realize that before they became a tourist destination for rich people, they were militaristic sovereign nations that fought tooth and nail for their own interests.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen.
I would say for the same reason that I'm not bothered by that whites only commune in Arkansas that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I mean, as long as I don't care what they believe. I don't care if they even believe that, it's whites only because it's a superiority thing, or it's just that they're looking for a white safe space. I'm not bothered by that so long as they're not infringing on anybody else's other, like basic human rights, and they're not going around, killing minorities or whatever. I don't care. Go do your thing, for the same reason that I don't care that images or figures from America's history are erected, re-erected, whatever. I don't care that they exist. They're pieces of American history. And I think, when I first moved to DC and I saw some of these images or statues, I didn't know, like, who's this guy in the middle of the water fountain on a horse? And I would look at the placard and I would Google, so I could learn about who these people were. Because, there's this statue in the middle of Lafayette Park, and I'm going to go look at it.
And by the way,
what
and
it is.
one of the arguments is that you really need to, the Confederate history is American history too.
Which is true.
Correct.
And it is.
Ugly or not, it's part of American history.
Well, Americans are very good at being outraged without understanding what they're being outraged about. I think that's a big part of the problem. And one of the things I would just really encourage people to think on, I know we've got to end here soon. If the government is trying really, really hard to demonize something, you can't on one hand say that you distrust the government and then trust what they teach you. And a good point in case of this, Robert E. Lee opposed slavery. A.P. Hill, one of his core commanders, was an abolitionist. He hated slavery. Thomas Jonathan Jackson, who my son is named after, broke the law by teaching slave kids how to read and write the Bible, and he did up to the day that he died. Contrast that also as far as Lee goes. When Lee's father-in-law died in 1863, Lee freed the slaves that he inherited. Let's switch this over to the Union. Abraham Lincoln was a raving white supremacist racist. Ulysses S. Grant's wife owned a slave that she kept until she was forced to free her. So Americans need to pick up a freaking book, and they need to read, and they need to figure out who and what they are, and stop falling for the dog whistles. All this is them trying to divide us, and they're trying to do it by erasing our history. And if we let them, the only people we're going to have to look at whenever what's left of the American experiment dies is ourselves.
Yeah, I say no erasing history. I'm with you, Robbie. No erasing history, no matter how inconvenient or ugly it is.
Look, so if you lived in Germany, you would, every city had a Hitler Boulevard or a Hitler Street. You would not have changed that street name. Come on, street names change all the time.
Yeah, they change.
We inexplicably, the RFK has a bridge named after him here in New York. He's not even from New York. But like
wait, senior or
senior? Yeah, the Triborough Bridge was renamed after him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, one thing's point, Ted. I'll point out, and I'm going to go away. Since you and Manila both have such a hard on when it comes to ICE, if the states who are being impacted most took a page out of the Confederate handbook, they could solve the ICE problem tomorrow.
Do tell.
Well, I mean, what you could do, we've already talked about it. You could just put out the notice where the governor could order the sheriff, you arrest any ICE agent that steps foot into the county. That's something the governor can do.
I like
that. Well, who's the supreme law enforcement of the county? It's the sheriff. The sheriff serves at the pleasure of the governor.
Well,
so I mean, fact check me on this. And if you don't want the National Guard to be used to round up your precious illegal immigrants, disband your state's National Guard and list them into the state militia. The federal government has zero authorization to do anything with the militia. It serves at the pleasure of the governor. So you can't on one hand demonize the South and then turn right around and say, oh my God, I wish there's something we could do about these pesky ICE agents. You can. It's called sack up and lead your state.
Guys,
that's interesting.
Here's the breaking news, and then I'm taking off here. You're gonna love this. So, according to new polls, more Gen Z consumers say they feel more like themselves on the internet than offline.
Lame. All right. Speaking of that,
goodbye.
Lame. We've gone too long, as always. Appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and follow button wherever you're at. Thank you for being here. We'll be back tomorrow. Hasta mañana, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Well, DMZ coming up.
Coming up live? Are you guys live?
We're live in 13 minutes.
Oh, okay.
YouTube and Rumble.
Check out Scott Stantis and our own Ted Rall.
We're talking about the California Post.
Oh, fun. Adios, amigos. Bye.
Bye-bye.